Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Two Gods Summoned to a Fantasy World by BenGrem1234. Chapter 31. Miyuki's goal revealed. Miyuki and Rimuru were still staring at each other without moving. Meanwhile, the giants on the ground have all along since passed out the moment Miyuki stepped foot inside the lower realm. Not just them, but every living creature in the lower realm have all passed out after Miyuki stepped into it. This is including the people from the cardinal world of the lower realm, like the true dragons, the octagram, saints, and so on. No being in the infinite multiverse of the lower realm was able to resist not passing out from Miyuki's presence in the lower realm. The reason the lower realm have yet to vanish is because Rimuru's presence is acting like a support for the lower realm. Back to what is happening. Miyuki smiled at Rimuru. I think you know why I'm here. I can't have you erasing my lower gods who all have my blessings, you know. Me erasing them was because they annoyed me and nothing more. They're too insignificant for me to bear any emotion towards. Now then, let's get down to business, Rimuru told her. I like that straightforward approach of yours. Why don't we take our chat where these lesser beings won't cease to exist by being near us? Miyuki then vanished as if she wasn't there in the first place. Rimuru turned to Chloe and Lilith. I'll be back in a sec. Look after everyone, Chloe, and make sure that those 5 lower gods don't cause any damage in the lower realm. After saying that, Rimuru vanished as well, leaving Chloe, Lilith, and Yoshino to watch the 5 lower gods. They didn't have to do much because the 5 lower gods refused to move from their spot in the air. The reason is because they know that with all their powers, they wouldn't stand even a snowball chance against high gods. They could maybe take on Yoshino since she is only a lower god like them, but Chloe and Lilith were out of the question. If they move carelessly, they have no doubt that either Chloe or Lilith could erase all 5 of them without a trace. Rimuru appeared inside an empty void where nothing exists, not even concepts. He seems to have changed his outfit to his true dragon outfit with his white cloak on his shoulders. Rimuru looked at his front and saw Miyuki floating in the void with him. Saying that nothing exists in that void is a little wrong because there were 3 tiny dots inside the void. On closer inspection, the dots were glowing and they were of different size and were floating in an ascending order close to each other. The first dot was massively bigger than the second dot, and the second dot was massively bigger than the third dot. These dots were glowing a bright color, but they were tiny from Rimuru's and Miyuki perspective. Beautiful, isn't it? Only the both of us are strong enough to exist in this place, Miyuki told him. Not surprising considering that this void is the origin of everything in existence. No one who is still bound by concepts can ever survive here. Now what do you want from me? Rimuru asked her. Miyuki smiled and walked in the void as if she was walking on solid ground, but was actually walking in an empty space until she reached the 3 tiny dots. Tell me, Rimuru Tempest, have you ever felt that this is not where you belong? Rimuru watched her to see what she would do. I won't deny that I have had such thoughts before. After all, I came to this dimension because I was seeking to find where I belong. Less than, and because you were bored, master, greater than, not the time seal. Read the mood a little. I won't say I blame you, Rimuru Tempest. Miyuki then brought her hand and picked up the first tiny dots, which was the biggest among the 3 dots. We have both crossed the boundaries that not even the first creator Veldanava could reach. The first creator Veldanava with his limited powers was able to create the lower realm and all the infinite dimensions and world in it. But he was still bound by the concept he himself made, which is why he is dead today. After I ascended, I created the middle realm and the higher and other to test my powers. I created beings who outclass the previous creator Veldanava in power and existence, and those beings are the deities you know today. Well, that explains why the deities were all ridiculously strong compared to the beings in the lower realm, Rimuru said. I created some of the deities in other to test the limits of my powers, and I found out that I have indeed because a transcended entity. The first creator Veldanava, as powerful as he is, did not have the power to create worlds on the level of the middle realm or higher realm. The lower gods all have power that transcends both the middle realm and lower realm, and each of them could easily create worlds on the level of the middle realm or lower realm. It is not an exaggeration to say that a single lower god is many times stronger than the first creator Veldanava, Miyuki said while observing the glowing dots in her palm. Rimuru walked up to the two remaining dots. What you said is certainly true. I mean, Veldanava needed an external energy from this void before he could create the lower realm. The lower gods, from what I have seen, does not need such power to create worlds. To be honest, I created them to see if they could rise and oppose me, since everything has become boring lately. I mean, look at us. The higher realm, which is the domain of all those powerful deities, which contains an infinite higher dimensions and worlds, is nothing but this palm-sized glowing dot in my hand. With just me closing my hand is enough to crush the higher realm and everything in it, Miyuki told him. It is true that we both are entities that are the fundamental principles that make up this reality, but we shouldn't abuse the power we have. Insignificant there may be to us, the beings in the lower realm, middle realm and higher realm all have life in them, and we shouldn't take it away from them, Rimuru told her. Even when we are the ones who gave them that life? Miyuki asked him. Yes. I try my best not to look at the world as insignificant before me, because if I do, I will lose the very foundation of my existence, Rimuru told her. Miyuki watched Rimuru in silence before she smiled. Whatever. I don't really have the desire to snuff life from the beings under us anyway. Miyuki returned the glowing dot in her palm to where it was. Why exactly did you call me here? I can guess what you want, but I don't understand why you want it. Rimuru expressed his confusion. Miyuki walked away from the three dots and began to walk deep inside the void. Rimuru followed her and walked behind her. Tell me, Rimuru Tempest, have you ever felt restricted? Like you were simply dancing in someone else's script? Not really. I know for a fact that all my actions are my own. I am no one's pawn, Rimuru told her. Miyuki clicked her finger and a giant castle appeared inside the void. The giant doors of the castle opened and Miyuki entered inside it, followed by Rimuru. They both walked until they entered inside a room that stretched and expanded to infinity, and inside the room are millions upon millions of shelves filled with books. At a part of the room is a throne that was made of glowing gold. Miyuki raised her hand and a single book came out from the shelf and flew to her hand. She turned to Rimuru, who was standing behind her. You know what this room is, right? Miyuki asked Rimuru. Rimuru calmly looked around. I do. This is the room of records where everything is recorded. That's right. Only those who have broken the border and freed themselves from all existing limits can manifest in this room. All this trillions and trillions of books in this endless room are the books which records the history of everything in existence. Everyone in existence has their own book dedicated to them. Their history, actions, past, future, present and so on are all recorded inside their own book. You could even say that everyone in existence are all characters in a written stories where they will have to follow the script written about them, Miyuki explained to him. I get that, but what I don't understand is what this has to do with me. I didn't create this room, you know, Rimuru told her. Miyuki laughed. Of course you didn't. This room has been in existence even before the first creator Veldanava took form. Each beings have their own book dedicated to them and their stories have already been written for them even before their creation. No one can go outside their own story, not even Veldanava. This book I'm holding is the book of Veldanava, and his story that is written inside this book has come to an end. Hence why he is dead today. No matter how much a being tries to stretch out their story, it will end one day. Not even Veldanava knows about the existence of this place, which shows how insignificant his existence truly is in the grand scheme of things. Rimuru watched Miyuki as she returns the book in her hand to the shelf it came from. And this brings us to the only exception to this phenomenon, which are me and you. In the past, I raised my powers to the highest point and I could easily create an infinite higher dimensions with a snap of my fingers. I felt on top of the world, but I still felt restricted by the limitations of the flesh and body. I felt like my existence was following some kind of script. The proof of this was that I was still bound by the concept of existence even with all my powers. I could still be killed, which means that I am still bound by the concepts of the world. I can already guess what you did next. After all, this place should not be made known to anyone inside this reality, Rimuru told her. Spoken like the true avatar you are. After I felt these things, I decided to free myself from all restrictions, and the only way to do that was by dying. By dying, I freed myself from the shackles that bound me to my story, allowing me to transcend my own story, which is why I was able to manifest in this room. After manifesting in this room, I became the first and only being to have transcended from the story written about me. I became a transcended entity freed from all restrictions and not bound by any concept. With me manifesting here means that I hold the power to alter any being's story as much as I please. The supreme deities I created have the ability to alter the story of beings below them, but they don't even know that they too are just characters in a story that have already been written. After countless years passed, I began to wonder about the origin of this room and why each person's story have been predestined even before their existence. I didn't create this room, and the first creator Veldanaba doesn't know about the existence of this room. Which means that a higher being was the one who created it and that all these stories were written by him. Miyuki explained to Rimuru. Rimuru sharply looked at Miyuki. Trend carefully, Miyuki. The existence of the being you are seeking is way beyond your understanding. Miyuki smirked. Of course I'm aware of that. After all, I as a transcended entity still can't interact with this being. This obviously means that there is a realm higher than my current existence. Even though I have grasped the surface of that realm when I transcended, I am not there yet. If a realm exists that is higher than my current self, it also means that I am still inside the palms of a higher entity. I wanted to reach that realm, but I do not know how to, even with my omniscience. Then one day, I felt it. Someone reached that realm. Rimuru calmly watched her, but Miyuki continued, that's right. You reached that realm when your existence was infinitely below myself. There was no possible way for you to reach that realm with your power at that time, which means that you were invited by the entity which resides in that realm. I was curious about you at that time, but I could perceive anything about you at that time even with my powers. This solidified my theory about a higher existence that rules over us all. It was after you returned to this reality that I was able to observe you with my omniscience and discovered who you are. The avatar of the omnipotent god, Rimuru Tempest. That explains why you were the only entity who didn't have a book placed in this room of records. I wasn't really trying to hide it from you, so, what is it you plan on doing? Don't tell me you are under the delusion of challenging my original self. If that is your plan, I advise you to reconsider. No matter what being it is, it can never interact with my original self, not to talk about fighting it. It doesn't have a form and it simply encompasses everything. You who stands above all the omniverse reality in existence is simply a speck of dust before its eyes. You may be the only being who has reached this realm of existence besides myself, but it was because my original self wills it. Nothing goes against its will. He is the true definition of omnipotent. Rimuru explained to her. I know all this already. I am not under some delusion that I can fight this entity. I want to reach the same realm as this overlord to prove my existence. I can't do it with my powers alone, but if I combine my power with the avatar of this overlord, I will have enough power to break into that realm and stand before this being. Miyuki told him. Do you believe you have the power to beat me? Rimuru asked her. Not at the moment. After all, we both are evenly matched, but I have a trump card that is not yet ready at the moment. My powers won't affect you and your powers won't affect me. Within our realm, concepts, laws, providence don't exist. There are the things both of us who stands above everything can create on a whim. We who have transcended everything are not affected by anything. If we are to fight, we would have to be making up concepts and laws on our whim, but we can easily cancel those on our whim. Since nothing can affect us and we both are not bound by any story, only through physical means would we settle our dispute. But I won't fight you now until my trump card is ready, Miyuki told him. Rimuru sighed. I see then. I originally came to this dimension to have fun, but I can't really leave both you and the deities from what you are doing. I guess I will face you when you are ready. Of course. In the meantime, I will have my deities to keep your companion entertained after you enter the middle realm. That should keep you from getting bored at least, Miyuki told him. Rimuru turned around and began to leave the room. I will not get involved with the affairs of the deities. Only my companions and family will do the fighting. I will only get involved if the deities go overboard like threaten to erase the reality or something I don't like. Besides that, I will stay as a neutral party and observe how the deities intend to challenge my companions. After saying that, Rimuru disappeared from the void. Miyuki went to the throne inside the room and sat down. She opened a portal in front of her and a glowing black sword was seen floating in the space inside the portal. The sword was releasing a black aura that was overpowering for any entity to withstand, but Miyuki was calmly watching it. Miyuki gave an evil smirk as she watched the sword. It's not enough yet. Soon it will be ready and I will have my fight with you, Rimuru Tempest. Wait for me till then, Miyuki said to herself as she closed the portal.